So what does it signify that Republicans ahead of the midterms believe that it's going to be so necessary to get an upper hand that they have to actually redraw an entire state's congressional maps in order to get 5 whole seats out of it?
Oh, probably the same thing that it signifies when they did it in Illinois and got a 14-3 delegation for D's. Maryland 7-1, Massachusetts 9-0. We know what happened here in New York, California. Even though they have a commission, we all know what goes on there.
In a mid-cycle specifically, are all of those cases in mid-cycles?
All of these cases are where Democrats use the power they have to give them an advantage.
But just to be clear, because I didn't do the research that you did in the break here, is it that they're changing it after the actual census process, where you're supposed to create you're supposed to go through the congressional redistricting process?
Does it matter?
Yes, it does.
Very much.
I think that's the whole point.
So it's okay for Democrats to lopside these states. 9-0 in Massachusetts.
Here's what I will say about this.
People who are suffering right now, people who cannot pay their mortgage, people who have been separated from their families, people who are sitting in deportation camps, concentration camps, foreign and domestic. Those people do not want to see people. It is not.
I'm Jewish, and it is not offensive. It's not a death
camp. 1,000 texts. People do not. Comparing that to the
I imagine 1,000. I honestly wish they were more offended by the action of this administration. I wish they were more offended by the action of this administration instead of my language. They should focus on something more important than what I call it, and focus more on what's actually happening to people who are getting disappeared by a government agency. And none of us should ever normalize that like it's something rational to do. My point is this entire asinine scene of people playing cartoons. No, I won't get the logic of disappearing people, Scott. And I hope that you
you're minimizing that.
Your point.
I can't believe you're minimizing people being disappeared by the government.
Go ahead.
Be leaders ourselves. Black women are being used by the Democrat Party.
All of these socioeconomic indicators are in the negative, particularly for black people.
They want mob rule. When Trump was in office, please somebody tell me what act of dictatorship did he perform?
She had Donald Trump's hair on top of her head. And she's sitting here talking about brown girl this, brown girl that.
Because she's a black woman.
They would ask her how to spell her first name and clap like sea monkeys.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What's up, folks? It is Wednesday, and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are going to get into that CNN clip and more next. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. All right, of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, y'all.
Yana.
Hello.
And Shelly E.
Hi.
All right. So before we light this fire, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We're live here on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat and join and it's the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation. And also it's the best way to support the channel. All right. And also another thing, mainstream media wishes we didn't exist. So those super chats, the chat helps to boost us up on YouTube. So as I always say, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Want to get right into that clip we played at the top of the show. So let's talk about the beginning of it. Of course, that was Scott Jennings, who really handed Abby Phillip a lesson in reality. So Texas Republicans basically, well, what happened was President Trump pretty much just dropped a bomb on a call with Texas Republicans recently. The GOP is going after 5 more congressional seats in Texas through redistricting, and the left is already panicking. CNN's Abby Phillip couldn't help herself, lecturing Republicans and Scott Jennings, of course, on live TV for daring to redraw the maps before the 2026 midterms. But here's the truth. Redistricting is legal, strategic, and overdue. And guess what? President Trump won Texas with a 14-point landslide in the last election. So he's not backing down. He wants to make it a bigger win. What's wrong with that, Nicole?
Not one thing. Listen, in politics, you take the strategic advantage when you have it to give. Unfortunately, there are some states that only do it after a census, or they use a commission to help them draw the lines. Texas is not one of those states. They're going to have a special session. Redistricting is going to be the priority, and they will redraw the districts to get those 5 seats. It helps us win.
Yeah. Well, Abby Phillip, Yana, is saying they're tampering with democracy by redrawing these districts right before the midterms. What are your thoughts?
Well, one of the reasons I think they're doing this is because there's so many leftist people from California, for example, moving into Texas. So I don't know if it's tampering with democracy, because what is happening, democracy that they're advocating for is mob rule. Mm-hmm. So they want their leftists to move into Texas and then vote for their policies that they just escaped from. Mm-hmm. So by redistricting these areas, then we can hopefully fight that kind of influx.
Yeah. Yeah, Shelley, I mean, the Democrats are saying that Republicans are stealing Texas. What are your thoughts?
No, they're not. My thoughts are there's 2 important things. Number one, the Texas legislature only meets every other year, and they are quite efficient in running their state, having to meet every other year. I think it's every odd year, if I'm not mistaken. So they're not in session like Maryland every year where we get more taxes and things like that. But not only that, in meeting every other year, what we call this is preparation. Okay, this is just preparation. It may be a midterm. The next census is 2030, but they are preparing for the next census. They're not waiting to say, oh, now here's our map. No, Texas, be smart. The Lone Star state, do what you're doing. Keep doing it. F those Dems.
Yeah, well, the Democrats are, of course, they don't play by the rules. So what they're trying to do now is not show up, not have a quorum, so they can't hold the vote for the redistricting. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that?
It won't work. So they don't show up for quorum. They'll call another meeting and reduce the quorum. And we'll reduce it down to the one person that needs to be there. Listen, you play those kind of games. Everybody has a parliamentarian. The parliamentarian knows all of the rules, and there's a way to get around everything. This is just the GOP outsmarting the Dems again. And listen, full disclosure, having a district drawn Republican doesn't necessarily mean a Republican is going to win the district.
Exactly.
They're still going to have to run. They're still going to have to hit on policy. Mm-hmm. It makes it easier to win, but it's not a guarantee of a win.
Yeah, and already Texas Attorney General has said if they do play those games, mm-hmm. he will go have them brought in. He'll have the police go out and try to get them to bring them back in for the quorum. They're not playing around.
They have to do their duty.
Yeah,
they have to do their duty.
They're trying to go out of their way not to stand up for their residents. If they're this is their jobs to show up. That's really all they have to do is show up. And so if they're trying not to show up just because they don't believe they have the votes, that's not part of the process.
Do you remember the last time they tried that? Where they stayed here in DC too long, and then they got dropped out of session. So Texas is not one of those states where you can play games.
And another thing, because a lot of these illegals are being deported from Texas, they don't have that population anymore. So they are afraid. Mm-hmm. Redistrict all you want, prepare the maps in advance. And let's get something straight. Redistricting is held at the state level. So there may be some suits, if you will, some pushback, as it should be, doing that back and forth in the political process. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't mean that this is the map that will be set forth.
Yeah. So let's move on to still with that same clip, but the hysterical Tiffany. What is her last name?
Cross.
Tiffany Cross, mm-hmm. who again is pushing those Democrat talking points that President Trump and ICE are kidnapping people, are disappearing people. What in the world is she talking about, Shelley?
She's talking a bunch of gibberish. She's been saying this for a couple of weeks now. What she's doing is she's just reiterating the talking points from the Democrats, particularly about these immigrants, illegals who are being deported. They're being rounded up like cattle on one of them Texas ranches because Tom Homan and Kristi Noem, DHS, all these people are not playing with them. So she's just making it up. She's causing hysteria for no reason, getting worked up, and people on the left are buying into it. These people are illegal. They don't belong here. Get them out. Tiffany Cross is just being foolish and silly, but she's playing along with the Democratic playbook.
Yeah, and Abby Phillips is not correcting her. I mean, it's factually untrue that they are being kidnapped and they're being disappeared. These are officials, ICE officials, showing up, and they're have their official badges and things on, and they're on a list of being illegal. Nicole?
Listen, the thing that I'm going to say about this CNN show is Abby is very, very partisan, right? She'll let the people who are on the right side of the aisle like wither and die before she gives them a chance to speak. But this Tiffany Cross has a way of taking over that show and kind of pounding this rhetoric. And then what happens is when you watch another show, you'll hear other Democrats repeating almost the exact same things that she said. So she is what they would like to refer to as a thought leader. She's someone who gives a talking point and everybody, the minions, go out and spread it all around. The problem is, you're right, KJ, it's not true. None of it is true. It's what Democrats call misinformation.
Right.
Let's use their own words against them.
And you heard her where Abby at least was trying to say, she said, sure, Michael, go on. And this woman continues to filibuster. She continues to talk. It's no decorum here. Abby has no control over the panel. Yana, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, she dominates the conversation, and it's all about sensationalism. When she keeps repeating that word disappearing, because you're right, Nicole, it's something that they want to stick into people's head, like that word that these people just disappear. No, like there's a process. They're being arrested. And you know what? They have disappeared themselves from their countries.
Yeah, from their homelands.
From their homelands. People back in their hometown is like, where are they? They have disappeared.
Right.
Like literally from where they belong legally.
Yeah, it's almost like that show From. You guys, I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's a show From. I think it's on MGM or one of the channels on TV. And it's like these somewhere and they just disappear from their current town and they pop up somewhere else. This is what this is.
Oh, I mean, sounds like a good show.
Yeah, I don't like it. Scary, but
oh my God.
What is it, like vampires and stuff?
It's kind of like that. Yeah, I don't like it. But I mean, it's a popular show. But that's what it reminds me of. These people doing this. And again, the Democrats are continuing to push this propaganda and these lies. I want to acknowledge our super chatters. Thank you all so much. All right, we got Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat. Says, I just lied to my FB page and told them I am live right now. Let's see how many watch the show. Hello, Papa Politics family. Thank you so much, Kung Fu CJ. He also says many of the illegals are leaving on their own.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Self-deporting.
Yeah, there was a huge story out today where a family of, I think it was 5, self-deported. So I believe it was the dad was illegal, but the mother was legal along with the 2 kids, and they were packing up their stuff.
And that's a good choice because even if, let's say, they overstayed their visa or however they were here, there might be a possibility for them to apply then in their home country to go into the embassy and say, we did self-deport, we did the right thing, and we want to apply for a visa. And then they have a slightly higher chance of actually getting the visa to come back here than the people who got arrested.
Yeah.
Cry me a river.
Oh, God.
Detainees, a 10-year ban.
Oh, wow. Okay.
10-year ban.
Well, we will continue to follow this story. And again, you guys, please sound off in the chat. What do you think? Do you agree with the Democrats? Do you think it's incorrect or it's not fair that the Texas Republicans are doing this redistricting? Or you say, well, guess what? It's fair game, and like they say in spades, play to win. Tell us what you guys think. And also, folks, please, as you guys come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out to a wider audience, and subscribe. We have a goal to hit 200,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, Labor Day. And so we need your help. We can't do it without you. So please hit that like button and subscribe. All right. So moving right along, again, we are still talking about the lamestream media, these propagandists. We are on their necks. We are Derek Chauvin them. And now we're talking about CNN's Dana Bash. She is making waves again, this time insisting that the public broadcasting is essential for rural Americans. So according to her, without PBS and NPR, folks in small towns and farm communities wouldn't have access to news, education, or culture. Really, Dana? Do you think rural Americans are living in caves with no Wi-Fi or books? The left's elitism is on full display, and it's downright insulting. Take a look, listen to her. Clip 3.
And he wrote, "It's very important that all Republicans adhere to my rescissions bill, and in particular defund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting," which is worse than, I'm not even going to read that. "Any Republican that votes to allow this monstrosity to continue broadcasting will not have my endorsement."
I think one of the most interesting groups of people to watch in this are the rural Republicans in the Senate and the House, and on all of these issues, because so many of them are affecting rural communities, and public schools are the center of small towns in America. And my understanding from Democrats who cover rural areas is they don't think that they can exactly win rural America, but they say they're being heard in a way that they have never been before, and maybe they can lose less badly. And so I just think of tariffs, USAID, and SNAP, which the agriculture community funds or sells their product to, these are all putting stress on rural communities.
And rural communities rely on public broadcasting still.
That too.
And public education.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, such a good point. All right.
Okay, so I mean, rural communities only have NPR. They're like the biggest supporters of public broadcasting. Nicole, what are your thoughts?
Listen, as someone who lives admittedly in the woods, let me say this. Watching a group of very elite women discuss how we live in caves, or our children have never seen fire or a wheel, you know, it is obscene to me. These are people who drive through our towns when they're trying to take a shortcut off of a highway. They don't realize we have the internet, we have the interwebs. See, this is a cell phone. They allow us to have these too. The government didn't drop us there like, you know, what's that name of that show, Game of Thrones?
Oh,
yeah, it was not like that. So we moved there for a reason, to avoid people like you. We moved there not to send our children to public school, because kids are homeschooled in rural areas at a rate of 2 to 1.
Wow.
Than urban areas. And believe it or not, we have electricity and roofs. It's amazing. We do grow our own food. It's much better than the food that we sell to your grocery store so that you can eat. But we're not dependent on government funding. Now, everybody likes the radio to an extent, but most people have Sirius XM, right? Because again, the interweb works where we live. It makes me crazy to hear these women make these cringy remarks. They don't even know anybody who lives in the country. They don't know any rural people.
And they don't like them.
And
They
clearly they
do not
don't.
like them. I've heard that they don't like them.
Clearly
They're
don't like.
snobs.
Right.
These coastal elites are snobs. Generally speaking, what they call Midwest rural towns, a flyover country, right?
Yes.
Not only do rural towns, Nicole, have electricity and cell phones and modern technology, many people in the rural areas are gun owners, right?
Oh, lots of them.
So I don't understand how NPR and PBS, they believe they have this much influence. No, what they're trying to do, they're trying to influence them with the pablum and all of the elitism and the bias that NPR and PBS put out. Another thing I don't understand is why, please somebody tell me, why does NPR and PBS get this funding, all these layers from the corporate public broadcasting or whatever the corporation is created by Congress? Those are our tax dollars. These are private companies, private entities, again, milking and sucking the milk out of the public's trust breast, okay? That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. They don't need this. People in rural America, they would not give one iota if NPR and PBS were no longer in existence, or certainly if they were only funded by their private dollars. Get a grip. Stop this bull. This is more pablum, Dana, and that panel that you're trying to put out. And no, people in rural America, it's not going to work.
First of all, no one listens to that. I think I'm the only person who does NPR because of the Tiny Desk. I told you guys.
I did it today, actually.
I love a Tiny Desk concert, but do I love it enough to give them my tax dollars? No. No, not at all.
I was about to say, I mean, I'm not from an American rural community, but from what I understand, I just can't imagine people in the rural communities, farmers, down to earth people listening to NPR or News Hour on.
No, man. So some of the finest Republicans I have ever met in my life. One gentleman who is a terrific farmer. He has a legacy farm here in Maryland. It's been in his family for more than 100 years. I have another really good friend that I work with in the emergency department. Her family farm has been in their farm, in their country, or excuse me, in their family for more than 100 years. All of them have technology. In fact, Dave Hancock has some of the finest technology I've seen. He has a store where he sells his meat to people from all over the place. Believe it or not, it's almost like the city, except for people are friendlier and there's less crime.
Yeah.
But don't come. Elites, stay where you are.
No, they're not coming. Let me tell you something. These people, they do not like rural people. I was just on NPR today filming for them, and you should have heard the people that on the panel. They talk about rural areas like the women are kept, like they don't have any agency. They feel like it's a burden to stay home with your children. I mean, it's just the way that they talk, the tone and what they say about rural America, and you can hear the smugness and the disdain in their voices.
But they don't like the elites, and yes, they do not respect people in the rural communities, and they're afraid of losing their propaganda outlet, which is not even working that well. So that's the only one that they have, and they're afraid of losing it because that's what the left, that's what the socialists do. They try to influence the public with the broadcasting, but it's not even working. It's a waste of money. Nobody needs them.
Yeah. And speaking of that, let's talk about the bias in NPR. Before we do, I want to get to our super chatters. Thank you all so much. All right, let's see here. We have Chris with the $5 super chat says the Dems redistrict and gerrymandered Maryland to death. So a Republican can't win. They're going to do it to Minnesota too. No room to talk.
Absolutely, Chris. Absolutely. We worked hard on redistricting here in Maryland, and it took everything we could to keep the one Republican district we have.
Wow. Yeah. Chadwick with a $10 super chat says, shout out to the ladies looking wonderful this evening. Sounding off and speaking nothing but facts. Did I mention they look wonderful? I don't know any other group as based in five land. I don't know what that is.
1 and 3. I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chadwick. So let's get into how biased NPR is. So they've been long criticized for their left-leaning bias, often promoting progressive narratives while being funded by our tax dollars. And then they talk about rural Americans. They don't need state-sponsored propaganda. They need access to truth, diversity of thought, and local voices. Here is do we have that? We have a segment here. A video, a clip here showing how biased they are. This is Representative Fallon interviewing NPR CEO on her bias. This is clip 4.
Ms. Kerger, in 2023, when PBS had a program, Washington Week with the Atlantic, and when President Biden's mental acuity was questioned, one of the reporters claimed the GOP was lying. Another reporter, Jeffrey Goldberg, who's been in the news of late, described Biden as, quote, mentally acute. Were you aware if there were any dissenting opinions on that program that day?
I don't know from that day. No,
there were not. But fortunately, there was a debate in, I believe, June of 2024, where the American people and the world found out just who was lying: the Democrats, Jeffrey Goldberg, and PBS. Ms. Marr, I'm sure you're aware that Hunter Biden had a laptop.
I am, sir, yes.
Okay. And there were many stories written about said laptop.
Yes, sir.
And in 2020, unfortunately, NPR's managing editor for news refused to cover the story, and he branded it a, quote, waste of time, not a real story, and a distraction. And instead, unfortunately, of NPR investigating, they ran a puff piece that led with, experts say attack on Hunter Biden addiction deepens stigma for millions. It's unfortunate that NPR ignored the Hunter Biden laptop story. But y'all did talk quite a bit about the debunked Russia collusion. Do you know how many times NPR interviewed Adam Schiff about
Congressman, I would love to say that we actually believe we made a mistake on the Hunter Biden laptop story.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. How many times did y'all interview Adam Schiff about the Russia collusion?
I'm sorry, I don't have that number.
It was 25 times. You know how many times NPR interviewed Chairman of this committee, Oversight Committee, Jamie Comer, about the Biden impeachment inquiry, or the Hunter Biden tax evasion and illicit business dealings of the Biden family?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
I believe that's 0, so it's 25-0. Ms. Kerger, you're aware there's a political spectrum. It goes all the way from the far right to the far left and everywhere in between. Would it trouble you to hear that for 6 months there was an analysis done on PBS's NewsHour from June to November of 2023 where they found that far right that term was used 162 times and far left was only used 6 times?
Wow. I mean, it's clear bias, clear bias. All they do is just degrade the right and praise the left. And they think, or they're trying to perpetuate the narrative that rural America is listening to this crap. We have an image here, image 1, the CEO, the current CEO. This is all her tweets that she has tweeted out, all about the left and really just criticizing the right. These are the people in charge. These are the people running NPR. They are so biased. It's clear. It is clear. And I can't even believe they're going to sit here and say or try to say that they're not. And we saw what he just mentioned in that last clip, talking about where were they on not just the Russia hoax, but also the scamdemic. The origins of COVID. I mean, every last thing, they were on the side of the left. Yana, you had a comment there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when I think of NPR, I remember tuning in. I didn't really listen to it. I immediately understood what it was, but Democracy Now! Democracy Now! Is a communist program, like 100% Marxist program. The woman who runs the program, Amy Goodman, she is actually in the Communist Party, and in 2018 she was a speaker at Socialism 2018, an annual socialist gathering in Chicago, Illinois. Wow. Right, like it's an actual communist propaganda, and it's preposterous that the government of the United States wants the taxpayers to pay for communist propaganda. They're literally anti-American.
Yeah. Well, you know why they want it. You know why they want to indoctrinate people. They want to indoctrinate not only adults, but children. This is why they want it in the schools. You see it on in the hospitals. They want captive audiences where they can just have it on, and then they just believe that it's going to, somehow cause these people to think a certain way.
Yeah, but the thing is that our Congress is funding this.
Yes.
Our Congress created the CPB or CBP Broadcasting Corporation. And so the NPR and PBS are getting money that our Congress has taken from the citizens of America to fund. So again, we have our government literally using our taxpayer dollars against us. They're funding propaganda, communists, Marxists, leftists, whatever the case may be. They are funding it, and we are paying for it by fiat because they take it from our taxes anyway.
Absolutely. We're actually paying for our own destruction.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably the insult to the injury. When you think about some of the things that have come from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, right? What they fund, you would think like cooking shows. Like back in the day, you could see like that Louisiana cooking show that would come on. You could see old reruns of, shows that talked about American history. Right. But nowadays, You got Ernie and Bert shacking. I mean, like it's ridiculous what this has become. But this is what happens when you have one party rule for too long.
Yeah,
they take the ball and they run with it.
Folks,
that's what they did.
Yeah, folks, sound off in the chat. What are your thoughts? Do you all still watch NPR, PBS? Do you allow your kids to watch the cartoons that used to play on there? Sound off in the chat. But we got one thing to say. No, Dana, rural Americans don't need your pity, your programs, or your politics. They've got values, common sense, and the ability to think for themselves. The left can keep PBS. All right. So we are moving right along. And folks, as you all come in, hit that like button, and subscribe. When you hit the like button, it helps to get us out in front of a wider audience, and we appreciate the support. Also, our goal by Labor Day is to get to 200,000 subscribers, and we can't do it without you. So share this broadcast on your social media, in a DM, in a text, and subscribe. We got another super chatter here. Kung Fu CJ.
Hey, Kung Fu.
Said, I used to listen to NPR in the Navy. That's when Rush was on. Okay. All right.
Too.
Yeah.
I love Rush.
Yeah.
That was my guy.
Yep. Absolutely.
Rush.
All right, folks. So we are moving right along. Want to get to a lighter topic here. Michelle and Barack Obama. All right.
That's a lighter topic.
Well, yes. Okay. After months of whispers, speculation, and eyebrow-raising absences, Barack and Michelle Obama have finally broken their silence on the status of their marriage. This was, of course, on Michelle's new podcast, IMO. I call her Eeyore because she's the dullest thing that you ever want to hear or see. Yes. This is clip 2. Take a look.
Welcome to IMO. Look at you. How are you?
Wait, you guys like each other?
Oh yeah, really, huh?
That's so
the
nice.
Rumor mill. It's my husband, y'all.
She took me back.
Now don't start.
I can't.
It was touch and go for a while.
It's so nice to have you both in the same room together.
I know, because when we aren't, folks think we're divorced.
Let me tell you. First of all, see, I'm in Wichita, Kansas for Austin's tournament. And this podcast has made me quite popular.
You're big
famous.
And people come up to me all the time. This woman came up to me and she was so nice. She's like, can I have a picture? Yeah. And then, so you know how you get the side hug? And she's like, what did he do?
And you knew she was going to say what he did.
And I was like,
it wasn't like, what happened to him?
That is so
it was like,
terrible.
How'd he mess up?
And I said, well, what makes you think he messed up? Why couldn't it have been
why
her?
did you just say no one messed up?
Well, because I wanted to keep this conversation going so that I could tell you about it.
Oh, Lord.
I was like, what? And she's like, he did something, didn't he? I was like, don't worry, everything's fine. And let me tell you, she was so happy, you would have thought I gave her a Christmas gift.
These are the kinds of things that I just miss, right? So I don't even know this stuff's going on.
Right.
And then somebody will mention it to me, and I'm all like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
There hasn't been one moment in our marriage where I thought about quitting my man. And we've had some really hard times. So we have had a lot of fun times, a lot of adventures, and I have become a better person because of the man I'm married to.
Okay, don't make me cry now. Right at the beginning of the show.
Isn't that sweet?
Don't let me start tearing up now.
And welcome to IMO.
Welcome to IMO.
All right, so we got to unpack this. First off, did you guys catch the way they were sitting? What happened to President Barack Obama? First, he is sitting there like some woman. I mean, I don't think he has a penis in between his legs anymore. He's got his legs crossed so tightly. I mean, and then she's sitting with them gaps wide open. That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, why is he so feminine now? He never used to be that way. And I think it's because they moved to California. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that whole exchange?
First, let me know when I need to wake up. Number one. I thought it was so boring, but to your point about him being more feminine, I thought he looked kind of girly too.
Yeah.
But maybe it's because he is the girl and she's the man. And I mean, maybe, there were some rumors about that. I mean, I'm spreading rumors, but maybe that's a possibility. But nevertheless, I am over it. I don't give a damn about Barack and Michelle. She looks phony. He looks like, okay, I was dragged here just to say this and look the part, whatever. I don't care. And you know what? I don't believe for $1 or $100 that some woman pulled up Craig Robinson and said that. I don't believe it. I just do not believe it. I mean, she just looks miserable. Like, okay, my man. What woman who's excited about her man says, my man? I mean, come on. I mean, if you're a woman and you got a man, I mean, a real man, you're going to be excited. He certainly wants to make you that way. But I mean, maybe it's the other way around because she's giving and he's receiving. I don't know, but I'm over it.
Yeah, Nicole, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
So just from the body language, they don't like each other. They don't. I mean, I think there's a modicum of respect between them because they share children. But if you see the way that he greets her and the way that she greets him, he was more excited to see the brother-in-law than he was to see the wife. He was like, hey, Greg said that. Yeah. And they sit across the table from one another. They're not holding hands. They're not touching. And the whole time she's talking about how much she loves her man, her eyebrows are so high, it's damn near, in her hairline. Everything about her body language says, this is not the dude. And everything about his body language says, I am the dude, just not the dude with you.
Yana, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
Well, it did seem really fake. The whole entire exchange, yes, it was staged. That kiss, like that kind of like, okay, we like each other, but it didn't seem like it. And really, the reason why he sits like this and he's feminine, because Barack is gay. Like it's a fact. That's not a rumor. There's way too much evidence and witness, like actual partners came out years
I mean, ago. I'm not arguing the point. What I'm saying
absolutely.
is they just don't have the chemistry that you would see from a couple that's been together 5 years, let alone 20 years. I'm not saying that he was supposed to come in and she was going to wrap her legs around the back of him. Right. But generally, when you see couples that have genuine emotion for each other, it's palpable. You feel it in the room. It doesn't mean that all the hair on your arm has got to stand up. Right. But they look like, she wrote a book and he was coming to get it signed. I mean, it was very cold. Yeah. There's a cold space between them.
What happened? I mean, when they first came out in 2008, first off, he was much more masculine. He had that swagger. I mean, we don't agree with their politics, but they were a beautiful family. And a beautiful couple as well. I mean, you would see them together. She was much more energetic. She was fun. She was, hip. She was, painted as the kind of hip first lady and things. And then I don't know what, it's like the years have passed and they kind of reversed roles. She's become more masculine and he's become more feminine. And then they're like two cold fish.
I'm going to say this, and this, I don't know them. I don't know their marriage. I'll just say this in their defense in general. I don't know what happened, but I do know that marriages can go through ups and downs. Right. Maybe they're in one of the down spurts. I don't know. I'm not even wishing for them to be divorced.
Oh, no, neither.
Right. I'm just saying, I don't know if they are or not. I'm not wishing that, but I do know in real life, marriages can and do go through topsies and turvies, things like that. And people sometimes, I don't know, what do you call it? They may grow a little bit faster than their partner in certain ways. So I will give them that in the general human existence. Okay. I'll give them that. However, she's just miserable anyway. She just looks miserable no matter what. It's almost, and again, I don't know their marriage. He could be miserable just for the fake. I don't know. Right. But she comes across that no matter what you do or he does or doesn't do, she's not going to be happy.
Well, she doesn't strike me as a happy person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I think when she was in the White House, she had a lot of coaching and she had a team to take care of things. So it bought her a little bit of grace with the American people. And he was so much of a rock star that being in his shadow was a lot easier because he commanded all of the camera. He commanded all of that. But now you look at them and he, you know, for all intents and purposes, he looks like a happy dude. Now, whether he's a gay happy dude or a straight happy dude, you know, I don't know.
Happy dude.
But he sat down with his blouse on. You know,
He's
relaxed.
being himself now. Barack is finally himself. He's a good actor. He's a good speaker. That's why he was able to appeal to so many people when he was campaigning, when he won, and during his presidency, he kept, you know, that appeal. But right now he's being himself. I think this marriage was from the beginning a strategic marriage for Barack. I think he likes men primarily. I'm convinced. It's clear.
Yana's got receipts. Got the receipts.
But he had to marry a strong Black woman. That's for that image that he wanted to. Because he's actually not, you know, we don't even know where he's from. He is all sorts of he is all sorts of mixed, and God knows where he was born. So he needed to marry someone like Michelle to be closer to the people. Like, it was a strategic marriage. It's clear. And she knows it. She knew it the whole time. And I remember a long time ago during his presidency, they had an interview. It was actually a bit of a scandal or headline when they interviewed Michelle. And she was like a slip of the tongue, and she said, "I'm a single mother," or something like that. And they were like, "Wait, what do you mean by that?" And she explained, "Well, everything's on me." So it already kind of was coming out that they're kind of living separate lives.
Well, she talked about that in her book. You know, they've had years where it just didn't work. To credit to what Shelley is saying, marriages go up and down and up and down. But I don't know of any marriage where you're not happy to see your spouse, even if you haven't seen them in a long time.
Right.
One of the things I will say about Michelle Obama is that for all intents and purposes, she did not want to be first lady.
I don't think
she said that very clearly.
She did.
And this is who she really is. Some people are just dry.
Well, she needs to get out. She needs to stay in front of the camera.
Well, that part,
The podcast is not working.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing this man sitting across from her, looking like her with no hair. It's just all over the place. So, you know, pro tip, leave it alone.
We should get her a t-shirt that says, "I married Barack Obama."
In my opinion,
all I got was this t-shirt, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. You guys sound off. What did you all think about that interview? I mean, are we way off on this, or are we spot on? Sound off in the chat. We really want to hear from you. We do have some super chatters here. Thank you so much. All right, let's see here. Kung Fu CJ says, "Shelley, stop beating around the bush, cuz." All right. Kung Fu CJ says, "Yana, you mean strong man." Oh my God.
Possibly.
Yeah. Something's going on there. So, and from what I know, in all the years that I've been living, the truth always comes out.
Yes,
so.
Indeed. Everything done in the dark comes to the light.
Absolutely. So we will see. All right, moving right along, folks. Kamala Harris is back. And she's still awful. She's still awful. So California Democrats are in chaos, and all eyes are on Kamala. After losing big to President Trump last year, she's now ghosting the political scene, leaving everyone in limbo as she considers whether to run for governor. While the rest of the Democrat bench fights for donor scraps, Kamala is holding up the race, and the money men are not happy. Is this more indecisiveness from a failed VP, or is she being calculated? Is this a calculated move to keep her name in the headlines while avoiding accountability for the Biden-Harris disaster? Folks, she's still awful. Take a look here. This is clip 5.
And I was just telling somebody recently who didn't know, we performed Free to Be You and Me. When I sang about my friend William, who was 5 years old and wanted a doll to hug and hold, I could sing the whole thing.
I think you should sing some now.
So now she's actually failed and drunk. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
Okay, before I respond, I have a treat for our audience.
Oh.
I need you to like, share, and subscribe. And Allie, you were right, because somebody asked me to bring this glass. Here we go. So I brought the treat.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
I didn't even see it with it. What was it?
Everyone.
She snuck it in the
I didn't see it. I was like,
that's
what was
the treat? The honey treat. Oh, we are almost at 200,000. Oh, please hit that like, share, and subscribe. Hit it tonight, share it, like it, hit the notification. And when we get to 200,000, it's going to be, oh my God.
Blind me. Blind me.
Okay.
Nicole, what are your thoughts?
Oh my gosh. Shelly. That's all I got. Kamala is like herpes. She just won't go away. She just won't. And just when you think life is going to get good, she pops right up and ruins everything.
Yeah.
California Dems, run if you're running. Don't wait around for her. She's not going to make an executive decision until the money people line up behind her. If I were running in California, I would chase after my money now before the drunkard in chief decides what she's going to do. Do I think she can win the governor's mansion? Maybe. Californians have short memories. Mm-hmm. But as president of the United States, I don't think anyone is going to fund that campaign. I think they're still smarting from the money that they wasted this go round. And she just doesn't have it.
Right. She not only lost, but she wasted all that money. Mm-hmm. Do we know about how much? What was it? It was like
almost $1 billion.
Yeah. Almost $1 billion with a B dollars. And they have nothing to show for it. They didn't pick up any congressional seats. Nothing good happened from that run. Nothing good happened from her first time when she was running for president of the United States. And I don't think a third time, even with all the Tito's that, they say that she's drinking, is going to help. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, she's awful, but now she's an awful loser. I mean, she lost the last election, and so she's still bad with the cackling and the word salads, and she's a loser. Yana, what are your thoughts?
It's the same thing, like that pantsuit with the big shoulder pads, the cackling and the weird moving of the body.
Yeah, what is it with this California people? Gavin Newsom does the same thing. All this, what is that?
That's too much sunshine.
Trying to be hip, and she's still trying to do the same thing. How she wanted to win the country, now she wants to win California, but unfortunately, Californians, who knows, they might feel like, she's the lady for them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I mean, they look so weird. You're watching her and Gavin Newsom do interviews. It's almost watching Ray Charles as he used to play. You always thought he was going to fall off the seat, but these two are not blind, and they're just moving all over the place, making us dizzy. It's really
I'll tell you, they are blind. They are the kind of blind that makes people nauseous. They're the kind of blind that makes it so expensive to live in California. You can't do it unless you're on government benefits.
I wanted to add, I don't think it's as much as Kamala Harris or her campaign holding up this choice. I think it also is the Democrat elite nationally and in California. I think they are revving up to pick the candidate again. That's what I think they're doing. I think they want people to think it's her, but they want her. I think they want her, and they are going to pick the candidates. For all you Californians out there, Californians, you won't have a vote again. They're going to tell you who to vote for. When they want your opinion, they will give it to you.
Yeah, well, let's give you guys remind you of how bad she is. She just recently someone came out, I believe the podcast, there was a podcast she did, and the interview was so bad that he did not even air it. Take a look here. This is him talking to someone recently about how he didn't want the pressure on him to people blame him for her losing if he had shown the interview. This is clip 6.
Emailed me.
They got an email from the
DNC.
Okay.
And they said, hey, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are really interested in being on your show. I said, that sounds cool. Okay. I'll at least get to tell my daughter that I met the potential president of the United States. Yeah. And so I said yes, based on the fact that it would be a good story. And also they both had good takes.
What happened with Kamala?
Her take was really confusing and weird and not good. And so mutually agreed that we shouldn't publish it. I see. And I got lucky because I didn't want to be blamed for her losing.
Her take was that bad?
It was really, really bad, and it was like didn't make any sense. I can tell you, it was bacon as a spice. Bacon as a spice.
Bacon as a spice.
Wow. So just to give you guys some backstory there, what happened was apparently this podcast that she was doing, he asked just like random questions. And so the question was originally the take he said he pitched was great. And it was, she did not like to take her shoes off on airplanes. So it's just random questions, I believe. The first one was, talking about whether she liked to take her shoes off on airplanes. And she didn't like that. So he says, her handlers told her not to respond or answer that question because it made her look rich and snobby. Says, and you need to appeal to the American people. So she went with the bacon. And he says, I tried to pause the interview and say, trust me, we shouldn't do the bacon thing. And I was overridden by this guy who's maybe her deputy campaign manager or something, who said, we're doing bacon. And I said, all right, we'll do bacon. And then an hour later, I got a call that said, we can't do bacon. I said, I know you can't do bacon. But then I tried to cut it into something else and it wasn't working. It was just really bad. So did you guys understand?
Well, he was trying to do some icebreaker, basically.
Yeah, like an icebreaker. Yeah, but she just was unnatural. She was very unnatural. She was very scripted. Yeah.
Fake.
Right.
Fake is the word.
Yeah.
So can I say this? And you guys are getting a kick out of this since we talked about the Epstein tapes earlier in the week. Release the tapes.
Yes.
Release the tapes. Yeah. I want to see it. I want to see how bad she was in this video.
Yeah.
I think California GOP should get their hands on that tape in every single available billboard and everything you can find should have clips from this horrible, horrible interview.
Yeah.
Well, he must have taken some pity on her because he didn't release it yet.
Or at least a Democrat.
What, does he have? So he's able to do that. It's not like they disallowed him to do that. They can't.
Oh, no, he can do it. It's on his own. He said
he should use it as blackmail.
Oh,
well, she's drinking up all her money. She ain't got it like that.
Yeah.
She's fake. Like she is so fake. It oozes out of
I don't think she knows who she is.
No. And I'll say that too, Shelley, because for so long she's been pretending to be all of these different people. Yeah. Who is she really?
I think she knows who she is. I think she's too weak to say, I'm going to be who I'm going to be. What I say is what I say. And it's just going to be that. She's too weak. So she's going to depend on her handlers to tell her what to do. And they're telling her, you're awful. You can't show the real you, at least not until you're elected. And so we need you to be this fake person. And instead of her standing up and saying, no, I'm going to be who I am, Kamala, Indian Kamala, she turned into Black Kamala, whatever you want to call it.
But the truth is very much what you just said, KJ. Yeah. I figure her whole political career, people have told her what it's going to take to win, and she falls into that trap. But when you see her, when she's quote unquote on her free time and she's drunk and happy and giggly, and I actually like that Kamala better than the dusted off, polished up version of Kamala. At least you know what you're getting.
I see what you mean. I think she was real when there was this clip when she was the attorney general in California, and she was saying, with the stroke of my pen, I can change a person's life and their future. And you could see how much she enjoyed that power.
I think she likes power.
So I think that's when I was like, okay, this is real Kamala there. When she's cackling, even if she's maybe a little tipsy, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know if she's actually drunk or she's just pretending to be silly, to be fun, but it comes out as being drunk because it's just weird.
Yeah, I would certainly not like to see her as president, but I would like to see her maybe as a real housewife. So Real Housewives of LA. She would be a hoot on a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or LA. I mean, they'd get her drunk. She probably.
You mean that? Okay.
It would be good.
Put her on one of
TV.
Those Zeus shows. Fight it out with.
That's about it. Not president, not governor, not mayor. I wouldn't even want to run in as a.
What about school board?
Nothing. No school board. No pets. Nothing. I wouldn't want her running anything, but I would love to see her on reality TV. So
how about a liquor store? Is she run a liquor store?
Not a liquor store. No, not.
You would never get a drink.
HOA. Yeah.
Oh God, not the HOA. My goodness.
No, not even the HOA. But you guys sound off. Are we being too harsh? Should Kamala Harris run for California governor? Sound off in the chat. And again, your super chats go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. Also, hit that like button as you come in. It helps to get this video out onto a wider audience. And subscribe. Where our goal by Labor Day is to hit 200,000 subscribers. We cannot do it without your help. Subscribe. All right, moving right along. This is an interesting case. Actually, before I do that, I want to talk about this super chat. Thank you so much, Dallas.
Hey, Dallas.
Because, right, Kamala should just be an HGTV cooking host. Yeah, I don't even know if she would do that well.
I heard. Well, she's washing her greens in the bathtub.
In the bathtub.
Right. Yeah. So,
CJ here.
Comfy CJ.
Oh, Comfy CJ. Yes, thank you. Says, y'all make sure you share Shelly licking on your pages. Oh my God.
That should get us the 20,000 more that we need, though.
Yeah. Folks, if you guys, for every $10 super chat, we'll have Shelly lick the honey.
And KJ will freak out for $20. Okay. You'll get to see both of them.
Yeah. I see that. That's a good one, Nicole. All right. Moving right along. This is an interesting case. So have you guys heard or seen this viral story of a Black woman who moved from the U.S. to Russia to escape what she called discrimination and racism? Revealed on social media that the entire plan backfired on her in a disturbing way. In a heartbreaking video, Francine Villa claims both she and her baby were brutally attacked by racist neighbors in Moscow. So before this video went viral, she was really pushed out by Russian TV as saying that America is racist. They're not fair or they don't treat Black people well, and on and on. This is the clip of her being featured on Russian TV. First, this is clip 7.
Why did I make up my mind to move to Russia? I wanted to leave a country where I was facing discrimination, racism. We don't have any hoodies. I thought the police was there to help me. Why aren't they helping me? It's history that's repeated itself over and over and over again, and it hasn't been fixed. He graduated university as an agriculturist. There's no career moves, there's no jobs, and there's so much discrimination.
Wow. All right. So you saw they put her up there. She left America, as many of these leftists said. They were so racist. We're leaving here. We're going to leave the country. And she went to Russia. Well, take a look now at clip 8.
Кричат соседи постоянно на меня. Сегодня напали прям кулаком. С ребенком прям кулаком в лицо. Значит, вы в России давно живете? А у вас прописка есть? Дай мне войти до квартиры. Дай мне, я легально держу, как твоя. Дай мне войти в эту квартиру. Хожу в участковую, пишу заявление, мне русский паспорт. не реагирует, не помогает.
Я уже устала от вас. Ваши нелегалы, все, не надо.
Ваши вещи, они пойдут на помойку. Ты меня поняла? Ты меня поняла?
Оставь.
Почему вы ко мне на «ты»?
Вы пугаете моего ребенка. Вы пугаете моего ребенка.
Вы меня не учите, пожалуйста. Не надо прикрываться ребенком.
Оставьте мою воду, оставьте в покое, оставьте меня. Оставьте, я замучилась ваших клеток, не трогай, у меня ребенок в руках.
Я пытаюсь выйти, напали на меня жена и муж. Это взрослый, большой мужчина и большая женщина. Прям напал меня, я тебя уничтожу, черножопая. Прям мне слова говорят плохие.
Я последний раз отсюда убираю.
Это ставь мои стенки, снимай дальше.
Я не могу выйти и входить в свою квартиру. Напугает моего ребенка.
Кого? Он пуганный, плачет, бедняжка. Да, зайка, ты плачешь, да? Плачешь, зайка? Я чуть все плачу, потому что это помогли как-нибудь, я не понимаю, что мне нужно делать, чтобы тут мне помогли мне и моего ребенка.
Все, убирайте свои вещи в квартиру. Все.
Как положено,
я шагаю туда. Вы
да.
сможете домой.
Я сделала здесь.
Да.
Нет, это моя стенка.
I know, my love. Баба Яга. Баба Яга.
Замки меняет. Свет мы отключает. Коляску выбрасывают на лестницу.
Это наш дверь.
Моя дверь. Что же, хренём.
Хватит снимать нас.
Сколько это можно терпеть? Мне там страшно уже. Я не могу там даже жить. Топ-студент в квартире, я не арендую, там прописано с 87-го года. Сколько это можно терпеть? Просто ужас, как милиция не помогает.
All right. So she was here in the U.S. She said we were racist. Now she went all the way to Russia, and then she called them racist, and she got her ass kicked. So what's going on here? I want to start off with you, Yana.
I have a lot to say about it. So just for background information, this woman was born in Russia. She was born of a immigrant into Russia from America, and a Russian woman. Her mom brought her to America, and she was raised here for the most part. And then she had some kind of trouble with the police here, and she decided to go back. So that apartment is hers, is her family's property. So, but she is seen, of course, as a immigrant over there. And they do not know where she's from. And just like, so a few things. I want to see the unedited tape of what was going on between her and the neighbor. From what also she claims in her live, she claims that they called her racial slurs. I speak Russian. I understand the entire conversation. I did not hear any racial slurs there. So I don't believe that. I really don't. She also claims that her child has bruises. No, her child was not affected by this situation. So maybe they should investigate why her child has bruises. Now, also, why did she cut up, that exchange? Because I don't believe that the other people were instigators. I think she must have done something. She put her hand on that lady, and then she got hit in the face. Like, that's what I think happened. And it was a scuffle between, neighbor scuffle, because she left her stuff, or she continuously kept leaving her stuff next to their door. And it seems like they kept telling her to move it. And then they were asking her, show me, like, are you from here? Where you from? Because just like we have issues here, they have issues over there with illegals, with people coming in and not being registered there, causing trouble. And so they were asking her, what, are you here legally? And in Russia, okay, you have to follow the laws, obviously. You also have to follow the traditional laws. And when your neighbors are asking you about that, you answer. You say, look, this woman is a Russian citizen. She was born in Russia. She would have, if she just said, look, here's my passport, here's my registration for this apartment. I don't want any trouble. You know, I'm sorry if I bothered you with my stuff. I'm not going to leave it here anymore. I just, you know, here's my papers. It would have been fine. But no, she didn't follow cultural norms. She was not following cultural norms. She was behaving like she got used to behave here. And here I understand, you know, if someone, just a regular person asking you for documents, you don't have to show it to them. Over there, you have to. You're going to have problems. And in Russia, you don't just say, let me pass. This is my apartment. Let me pass. That is not how you talk to your neighbors in Russia. And she got the consequences of whatever actions she did towards these people. I'm sorry she got hurt, but I need to see the entire tape.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think there's more to this that we don't know, and I'm not going to assume that this woman instigated anything, and I'm not going to assume that the Russian couple maybe initially hit her. I don't know. There's more to it, but I do know. Okay, this is why I don't travel to some countries. Okay, because Russians can be wrong too, and so can that woman be wrong, even though she's a Russian. I don't know who to believe or what happened. As far as her cutting up the tape, I don't know why. I mean, I'm guessing it was too long to show the whole thing, but I would have liked to have had more details about what happened. I would assume or presume that even in Russia, the people are not so vicious and violent that they are just going to come out and clock somebody because they have some stuff on the wall outside the apartment. I'm going to give the Russians the benefit, but I'm not going to just say that, oh, because they were Russian, they were automatically right and she's automatically wrong. It could be the other way around. I just don't know.
What are your thoughts, Nicole?
I think, you know, when you're an American, you should enjoy the freedoms that America gives you here in the United States. When you're traveling abroad, you do have to follow the cultural norms of where you are. Listen, not everywhere can you talk shit to people. And I'm not saying that's what happened because, again, we don't have empirical evidence that says that.
Right.
But I will say this. You have to know where you are when you travel outside of this nation. You see a lot of videos of that, of people who travel abroad and they get there, they're like, what is going on? It's not America. Yes, you remain an American no matter where you travel. However, if you talk shit in Russia, apparently.
How long has she been in Russia? Do you know? Or back in Russia, I should say.
I think several years, because that RT segment was pretty old.
Yeah.
Okay. So she was there for, I think it's at least 2 years last time that I checked.
And she's still speaking Russian.
She speaks Russian. She lived there when she was a child. Her mom is Russian, so she grew up speaking it. It sounds like she speaks English to her child.
Yes.
And her Russian is not, I can hear a little bit of an accent too. So but still, she's pretty fluent.
Right.
And the way that she addressed that lady, because we have a way of addressing each other, and there's a formal way and there's informal way, and it's a subtle difference for foreigners when they hear it, but for us it's not a subtle difference. And that lady originally actually was addressing Miss Villa in a formal way, and she in turn was addressing her in like a diminutive way, like an informal.
Okay.
That's why you hear that the Russian lady saying, "Why are you addressing me like this?" That's an insult. And so she was being, there was an argument that happens between neighbors, and it escalated, which should have not happened if that lady just said, "Look, I've got papers. I've got all the documents. I'm sorry to bother you." That's all. That's all they needed.
Well, I mean, folks, for me, it's just patterns. So you make a big thing about being here in the U.S. and you blaming racism. And so you go all the way to Russia. Now you're in Russia and you got blaming racism. You know, something in the buttermilk ain't clean. If you keep having these issues, the common denominator is you.
And she has no evidence. Just like in America, she said the cops were racist. And then in Russia now she's saying the neighbors were racist when they didn't. I did not hear.
I was going to say in this exchange, I didn't hear anything.
No, there was no racist slurs in that video. And if that existed, I'm sure she would have posted it.
Of course, she would have led with that. I think what I saw was two neighbors who are having an argument over where you're going to put your water. Don't put your water in front of my door. And that could happen very well here in the United States. Don't park in front of my house. This is my parking space.
Racism be damned.
Anything, this is just a regular neighbor argument. But like Yana said, this is where the cultural differences come in. Right? There's a difference there than it is here. Here, you just flip your neighbor the bird and say, put it over here again.
But why would she, just we're speculating, why would she not know that if she's been in Russia for a few years?
Well, so the racist component comes from, yes, the lady does not look like she's originally from Russia.
Why would she know the cultural norms? I mean, like why would she not know that?
I think it's just her personality.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's what I'm assuming.
So her sense of entitlement is not only for America, but also
I
for
think
Russia.
she still kept, that entitlement, and she hasn't assimilated well. So, like we talk about immigrants assimilating here, you move to Russia, you assimilate, you speak the language to your child, you talk to your neighbors respectfully. They ask you a question whether you belong here, you show them the papers. You don't just say, let me pass in an aggressive way.
I had a situation, KJ, if you just give me just a second. I had a situation in my office a week ago with someone who's a migrant. And he made a terroristic threat. And so we did all the legal things and we finally got to court. And one of the comments that he made that I thought was so profound, because most of it was just BS, but the one comment that he did make that was so profound is, you Americans don't know how good you have it here.
I've heard that.
Yeah. And I was like, I know how good we have it. And you need to go to jail, fam. I mean, we got it good in the jail too. I hope it's a wonderful experience for you, but you got to go. It's important as Americans that we understand the privileges that we have here extend to our borders. But on the other side of those borders, you're a guest in somebody else's nation.
That's why I keep my black ass here, or I go to countries that I know that have a little bit more, I don't know, American friendliness. And don't get me wrong, I'm not putting down Russia. I would actually love to visit Russia. I'm not putting down Russia, but you're right. So when we go out of the country, Nicole, again, I always say I love my passport. I love knowing that I'm an American coming home. But when I go to certain countries, I'm not, you're not out there just causing stuff.
Right, troubles.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Best
have to
behavior.
be cordial. If you follow traditional norms, Russians are very warm people. But if you show hostility and aggression, believe me, you're going to get a lot more back.
Yeah. Everything is better with a little sugar. I mean, you got to be sweet. You got to be cordial, and overly cordial, particularly if you are not in your home country. I don't care where you go. You have to do that. And again, cultural norms, following cultural norms is very important. But we see the common denominator again in this is this idea of racism. And again, we're not saying racism doesn't exist, but we are seeing people blame racism on every single thing. I have a family member who she was playing in her house and somehow got something lodged in her nostril, and she blamed racism. So, again, this is what we're talking about. Racism. And that leads us to this next one.
New boogeyman.
Yeah, it's a boogeyman, right? Racism is the new boogeyman, literally. A Texas man who ran to the media crying racism is now facing federal charges for arson and murder. Mario Raynard Robertson claimed his Huntsville home was the target of racially motivated vandalism. Take a look at this. This is clip 9.
We're back with an unexpected twist to a story about an alleged hate crime we first covered 2 years ago.
We first started reporting on Mario Roberson back in 2023 when he claimed his HOA was behind racist graffiti on his Huntsville rental home. We talked with him again a month later when that home blew up, killing 2 people. Well, this morning, Roberson was arrested by the FBI.
Court documents show authorities believe he orchestrated both the graffiti and deadly arson in an attempt to collect insurance money. ABC 13's Shannon Ryan reporting from federal court where Roberson just made his first appearance.
Roberson
Roberson may spend the rest of his life in prison. He's facing 12 federal charges, and he just appeared here in court in the same outfit that federal agents picked him up in earlier today. He was wearing a brewery t-shirt, shorts, and sneakers. He even seemed to recognize our team, making eye contact and faces. When I first sat down in Mario Roberson's Cypress living room in June 2023, he claimed the truth was coming out.
I think the Lord brings to light when evil was out there, it shined.
Just 2 hours earlier, 2 people had been killed in an explosion at Roberson's Huntsville rental home, an incident he repeatedly implied was linked to alleged racism in the neighborhood's HOA.
Racism, power, hungriness, money has gotten us to this place.
Weeks before the fire, Roberson contacted ABC 13, claiming the HOA was behind racist graffiti on his home. In this body camera video collected the morning of the fire, you can hear him cite the report while further implicating the group to law enforcement.
I accused them on the news. I let them know who I thought it was and the reasons why.
But in a newly unsealed federal indictment, authorities claim Roberson orchestrated both the graffiti and arson, hiring a family member who hired 2 others to help start the fire, all part of a purported attempt to collect insurance money.
Yes. I was standing by the window and said, y'all better come over and go. And the gas went boom, and I caught fire.
Law enforcement believes the arson attempt was bungled, killing 2 of the 3 men, including Roberson's relative. This body camera video shows authorities confronting the sole survivor who had just run from the building on fire.
I'm telling you from Houston, this dude, he told me, bring him out here to Huntsville. All right. He said somebody supposed to do.
My Lord. Why do these people use race to lie? And he's lying on God. You guys heard him. He's talking all this Christian stuff. Shelly, what are your thoughts there?
A few weeks ago on one of our shows, we were talking about, I forget what the topic was, but we were talking about racism. And, we eventually said that ultimately, these kinds of people, this ideology of racism, if you will, taken to the extreme will actually get people harmed or hurt, right? In this case, 2 people were murdered. I'm calling it murder. And 1 person was severely injured. He concocted this whole story over what? I mean, racism, because he wants people to believe that white people, I'm guessing, are after him. This man, the machinations that go into that takes a lot of effort and intentionality. I don't know if he intended to murder someone. I don't know what all the details were about the people in the home, but he damn sure knew what he was doing. Arson, murder, all of this around a race. Look, people, if you have that much contempt or hate, so-called hate, I think you admire white people, particularly in this case. I think you really admire them. But if you believe you have that much contempt or hate for white people or you believe that why don't you just leave them alone? Just leave them alone.
Well, Nicole, it wasn't so much that he hated white people, but he understood that right now racism is a weapon. It's something that is used that can somehow get you money.
Yes.
And so he thought this was the best way
to do it. This was his key to all of his success. It was worth all of the planning. Hell, it may have been even worth losing the 2 family members or friends for him to unlock the door to wealth, riches, and infamy. These are the things that he wanted. Yeah. And if it set us as a people back 50 years, so be it. Oh. It pads his income. It makes him popular. Even now in this space, looking at that video, I'm horrified. Yeah. I'm absolutely horrified by what that video showed. But then to find out that not only, they call it a hoax, and calling it a hoax is like calling it a prank in my book. That's a damn crime.
This is a murder.
And he should be charged with double homicide.
Capital murder.
Absolutely. This was not something that was an accident. It was planned. He thought about it. He thought about what the repercussions would be if he was caught, because he had that story ready to rock. Oh, they were after me. What the hell?
No,
wow. In 2025,
his buddy who survived.
Right?
No.
It's ridiculous.
Two of our relatives or something. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know who that guy was in the dark there. I don't know if it was him.
I don't know who it was. If it was him or his
I
buddy,
think it's
but-
one guy that survived that actually possibly told the truth eventually. Yeah.
For people who say, you know
I mean,
what?
there's lies.
Well,
and
he
then
was
there's
there
evil,
to
I guess.
do
I don't
the
know.
arson.
That was definitely evil.
Yeah.
That had no predictable good outcome.
Yeah, but my thing is, again, how are we at a point where people feel like they can use the idea of racism to their gain? We're seeing this over and over again. And to me, it's because we have so many people that are race hustling, that are, calling everything racism because they know it will gain them money.
I'm sorry, y'all. The only thing I would add to that, KJ, it's not just now. This has been going on for years. And I'm going to go back to at least Jesse Jackson. So at least a generation or two, maybe three, have known about Jesse Jackson, the Al Sharptons of the world, particularly, with the lies of Tawana Brawley. So the elite, the leftist elite, mostly, because most of them are leftists, and these black hustlers, grifters, as you would say, they have been grifting, they have been capitalizing on these race hoaxes for decades.
But why does it feel like right now, and I don't know if it's a feeling or if this is actually true,
social media,
that people are taking advantage of it more. We're seeing it. I mean, it feels like right now people believe like LeBron James and, many people in the black community say we're being hunted down just because of the color of our skin. And it's not that way at all.
I agree. I think the world is much smaller now because of social media. Things that before, if you were going to be a grifter or a race hustler, you had to come through a church.
It took some time.
You had to have a rainbow coalition. You had to build a network in order to get yourself out there. But now all you need is a cell phone.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
But my question is, and I'll ask you this, Yana, white and black people are falling for the hustle. Why?
I don't know. Honestly, these hoaxes are so stupid. Like, this guy's like a Jussie Smollett senior.
Exactly.
They're dumb. Like, people who do this, they always do something super dumb. Like, Jussie Smollett came out and
with the rope right around, around his neck, hanging around his neck.
And he went for Subway and the blizzard, and it just was so not believable.
But you have people like Taraji Henson who believe
right out there.
I mean, she still rides for this.
Hold on, I listened to a radio. This was like a month or so ago. And it was about a lady that left. Well, she said that she got mail or something. No, news also. It was a news on her desk.
Oh, I remember that.
I remember her. Yes.
Oh, we did talk about that. She was the only one who had access to the bill. It was the whole, we could tell that it was her. It's just so stupid. And in this case, it's so unfortunate. He got 3 people involved into his delusion that he was going to fool authorities, and then 2 people lost their lives. One got injured. This guy miraculously has not a scratch on him.
Not one
I'll take a stab at why white people in particular.
I was saying white and
black, but I'll tell you why the white people do it. Black people do it because they're grifting. White people are doing it. Shelby Steele told us this years ago, white guilt. White guilt. These people who fall for this, they feel like, oh, these poor people, I'm guilty, I have colonized them or whatever, whatever other ism they want to put in there, right? So they feel guilty. I need to, pay, there you go. Atone for, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we will continue to follow these stories and more. I do see we have some super chatters here. Thank you all so much. Did I miss a super chat?
I thought we did.
Okay. All right. Chadwick says, when in Rome, do what the Romans do.
Sir.
With a $5 super chat. Yes. Kung Fu CJ says, when I was in Ukraine, I saw the same thing. Oh, wow. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Folks, we want you to sound off on this. Why do you believe that we're seeing more and more of these types of racial hoaxes, what do you call it, or racial grift? Why are we seeing more of this? And why are people still falling for it? Sound off in the chat and let us know what you think. So Again, folks, we're on the Metro Conservative Media Network here on YouTube. We have several other shows for you guys to watch. Last night, we had the All American Talk Show at All American Talk right here on YouTube. A great show last night. You guys got to go back and check it out. They air every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. And then Thursdays is at KJ Christian Conservative. That's me. If you want something from a biblical perspective, still conservative, but from a biblical perspective, I'll be on tomorrow at KJ Christian Conservative. And then Saturdays, we have at Just the Guys podcast. They're coming at you hot with a male point of view from the conservative perspective. That's at Just the Guys podcast. All right here under Metro Conservative Media. You do not want to miss it. And of course, we will be, what's today, Wednesday, we'll be back this weekend with our weekend broadcast. So please hit that like button and subscribe. Also, you can hit that notification bell so you know every time we go live. All right, folks, we are on the road to 200,000 subscribers. That is our goal by Labor Day to 200,000 subscribers. Who did somebody super chat for her to get that out? No, we're only doing it if somebody super chat.
We're on our way.
I see what I'm gonna have to do. I have to put some salt in that honey. All right, folks, this is
the honey files.
Yeah, I had to put. Yeah, I had to put some salt in it. That's what I have to do to stop her from doing it.
She can't stop.
Yeah,
she cannot stop.
She won't stop.
She will not stop. She cannot stop. She will not stop.
This is what we're doing, folks. We will catch you next time. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Have some honey.